Live from Drearber, this is the Locktoon Podcast. I'm Amy.
And I'm Mel.
We have a very special episode for you today. Mel, who did we just talk to?
We talked to the beloved Moira Quirk, narrator of the Locktoon series.
That's right. We talked to Moira Quirk, a true queen, who told us all about her gym teachers, a mug, a pig, and honestly, so much more.
It is such a fun conversation that we had. And real quick, if you want to support the pod, check out our website at locktoonpod.com for some sweet stickers and pins. And of course, check out other Locktoon creators and artists at locktoonpod.com/fanmerch.
Without further ado, here's our conversation with Moira Quirk.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
We're good.
And where are you?
Great.
Where are you both?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
And I'm in New York. I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh my God, so you're both cool.
I don't know.
I don't know about that. Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles.
That's extra cool.
Yeah.
We're like a triumvirate of coolness.
We're so completely pumped that you agreed to do this. I don't know if you know of your sort of exalted, beloved status within the fandom.
I do see. I'm so terrible. I have such a fear and hatred and also curiosity about Twitter. And now we're in the middle of this, and I kind of feel like, was I justified?
You were.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
And so I feel like I don't join in social media. I'm such an analog person. I really was born in the wrong time. But I do sometimes see nice things about the lot. And I go, oh, that's good. It's working. Yeah.
Yes.
We feel very honored that you agreed to do this with us. We're so excited.
I'm a very shy extrovert. An extroverted shy person. I don't know. But I don't know. You just got me at the right time. And I'll do that. But...
So at the beginning of our podcast, I always tell a joke. I think they're pretty funny. Sometimes they're not, but Amy always laughs and it's nice. All right. So this is for both of you. What did Ianthe say when Harrow and Gideon propositioned her for a threesome?
Of course. I have always thrived as a third.
Oh my God. Did Moira Quirk just guess it?
Amy, we planned that.
That was for you.
That was a gift for you.
Wow. Thank you.
Also, that was amazing to hear Ianthe's voice, like, not in the book. Oh my God. This is Ianthe is my favorite voice of the whole series. So I had to tell an Ianthe joke so that Moira Quirk could actually, like, do it for us.
I really appreciate that. I can die happy.
There. That's love. You just had this love happen for you.
That's my friend Mel. So yeah, let's jump in. I think our first question was just, can you walk us through the process of recording an audiobook? We have no idea how it's done.
Sure. My own personal process, I speak for no one else, is these books are done through Recorded Books, the publishers in New York. I had done one series of 3 for them before this book, and they just email me. I still have not met them. I've only met them by email. I haven't even spoken to them on the phone.
Wow.
For those viewers at home, you can see me making the old-timey telephone that only somebody from Gen X would do. I made my hand into a banana. I haven't even talked to them, and they just said, we have a book, would you be available to record it? And I said, sure. Yeah, so I sort of flicked through it, and the first page I saw was Harrow asks Gideon something, and Gideon replies, "Yop," and I can do this. So the answer was yes. So, and then I'll just get given the manuscript. I will generally have, I mean, you have to read it. Maybe there's people who don't read the manuscript beforehand, but that's madness. And
Yeah.
then, and I write my notes and my character information, and then the next step is going in and recording it. So it's kind of like cold reading, but kind of not. And I will normally, at this studio where I recorded Gideon, that's sort of like a 6-hour day with, a spot of lunch. It's
Wow.
yes. So it's a long day. It's a lot. It's its own thing. You have to be powerful to get through. I'm generally quite tired and very hungry at the end of the day, which makes no sense because I've just been sitting on my duff for the day. But I always do drive home going, my God, I'm hungry. Yeah, and you just keep doing it till it's done.
I'm tired just
Wow.
reading these books, so I can't imagine how you actually feel narrating them. It's a lot to keep track of.
These books were different as well because did you see Tenet?
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember that part when what's her name? She's French and she's Percy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and she comes in and she goes, "It is best not to question why. Just go with it." And that was kind of my mantra for these
Tenet
books.
has a similar vibe. It's like,
Yeah.
what
Like
is
you just go,
happening?
I get it. Okay. Got it. I'm clear. Let's go forward. Damn it! Now I don't understand. What? Why? When? How? Yes, I felt all the feelings. My husband came into the living room one time when I was just sitting there prepping, and he goes, "What's that face?" And I just went, "This book is impenetrable."
We're curious, like, there's so many different voices in these books that you've
Seriously.
developed. How much creative freedom did you have for creating them? Or, like, yeah, how did you figure out whose voice was going to sound like what?
Ah, yes. I have nobody talked to me about anything for this, so it was basically just honestly, it was just here's a manuscript, sort out some recording days and then get back to us. So
Wow.
that was for book 1. So yeah, my process is I suppose I'll work it out as I talk to you. I suppose it's just kind of intuitive. I mean, some characters will just sort of leap out at you. Sometimes I'm sort of creating them from whole cloth. Sometimes I'm using people as sort of my archetypes.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm doing I'm not an impressionist, but I'll think of sort of characteristics and quirks and quiddities of people and sort of make them my own. But it's not like being in a play when you're that one person on stage playing that one, because it is a sort of a feat of logistics. I think there are books where you don't really require characters. You're basically letting the speech attributes do the work. I don't often get books like that, but I've certainly done a few. And then there's others where I kind of feel like, yes, it was once a book, but now this is an audio drama and I
Yeah.
just have to play everyone. And the logistics are sometimes, what can I do with my voice without destroying it? How do I play this character but make them different enough in an auditory way that you can tell them apart? Like sometimes I got given a book where it was like 15 Scottish policemen, and that was just hell. But you are thinking about like honestly, I think in this book for Corona Beth, because I kind of know the pitch of my voice, and I just went, well, she's just got to be lower. And so it, the creativity came from dealing with those parameters, and so I just had to make her lower. How's she going to be lower and be tits and teeth and kind of
Mhm.
Well, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Not that you need to hear that from us,
Yeah.
but
For this third book that I just did, I don't know we'll go too much into. Some people might not have read it, and we don't want to be spoily, do we?
Oh, we spoil everything.
we have big disclaimers at the beginning, so you can say anything that you want.
For Nona, I did, because it had been a while since I'd done Harrow and Gideon, and a character came in, Our Lady of the Passion,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Pash,
Uh-huh.
and I did have a moment of panic of just like, who? Have I done her before? Was she in the other books? Was she a different name? And it was true terror, and I just, because, everybody has their name, their nickname, their pet name, their sobriquet, their nom de
Yep.
plume, their alias,
Yep.
their pseudonym, their... So were they somebody else? And I had to use my Jeff at Recorded Books. Lovely. And I had to ask him, I said, I've got some questions. Has she been in the book before? And I felt like such a moron for having to ask. And Tamsin Muir replies to them. And it's like I have an interlocutor. So, and they replied, no, you haven't seen her before. She's new. And by the by, I'd always imagined Judith as French. Not Judith, Captain, yeah,
We suffer. We
yes,
suffer.
thank you. So, fair dues. So made them French because it's like having a request.
That is amazing that you just said that, because what I said to Amy before you hopped on was, if we have time, I really just want to ask why we suffer as French.
Yeah, why is we
And you
suffer French? I have that question too. And yet
But she's gonna be French always. Like in my head, we suffer will
Yeah.
we
always be
suffer
French.
will always be French, and sort of just over it. I mean, I really did imagine her with a pack of Gaulois and just that sort of sang-froid. Definitely. And Pash actually ended up being, you asked about how you come up with characters. Pash is sort of, when they talked about her thighs, I had a gym teacher who was all thighs, and she was amazing. I won't say her name, and then I had another gym mistress who, oh God, she was a bit desperate thinking about it now. And so Pash is actually a combination of my two gym mistresses.
Wow.
One of whom she used to follow me, and this was in the heart of the East Midlands, so she has a like dead nasty like late 80s Leicester accent, because that's what right then ladies is how she used to say. Right then, I know that it's 10 aft, it's 10 below, but we're all playing netball. She was and she was great, but oh my God, she was a force of nature.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what she was. So that's my that's an amalgam of my two gym mistresses. Yeah,
That's
Wow.
incredible.
yeah,
Wow.
and that's for me. Sometimes I give myself a lollipop,
Uh-huh.
and that was entirely for me. I don't care about the readership or the listenership. I have to have my jollies somewhere, and that's
You
and
gotta
that's what
have
it
fun.
is. Yeah, and also I don't normally use Leicester because it's a really ugly accent. Got your mouth on a latch. Yeah, did you watch EastEnders last night? It was really good. Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
where I got brought up. Clearly, I left. Yeah.
I would never have known like what accent specifically that was. So this
No.
is great to know.
No.
Yeah, you're talking to just two East Coaster Americans here.
Lovely.
We were talking, Mel and I talk all the time about how with Harrow the Ninth, it should have been, I mean, you were narrating the book with Gideon's voice, kind of, but not so much Gideon's voice that it was immediately obvious.
Yeah.
And we're always like, how did you ride that line? Because
Yeah.
Yes. Gosh, you're reminding me of that awful brain tease that I went through, that might have been another time in the living room that my husband walked in and went, "What's that face?" Yes, because I mean, probably like everybody else, I think I went over my notes and I've just got up in bold. Who is narrating? Because you have to, and then once I worked it out, then because it's a surprise, but the audiobook is a different experience. So I tried to give it just enough because it has to also be truthful. Because I think the listener would be super angry if I had just read like a narrator and then at the end it was like, "Hey bozos, it's me." You would have been, "I'd been lied to. That's not correct." And also, I mean, it happens again in Nona, where there's also
Right.
like second person narration, but only he said,
Mm-hmm.
he
Right.
walked, and then he said. There's just like little snippets like that. So yeah, so there's once again, it's an it's rare for second person to last that long, but I found it so delightful once I got it. It's very, I bet you Tamsin Muir is a big Wilkie Collins fan.
Huh.
I think just because of that sort of old, well, because it wasn't he the first sort of murder mystery whodunit kind of.
Yeah.
It's very murder mystery. We're all in the room,
Mhm.
and now I'm explaining everything that you did. That's sort of where I hear second person. Then you took the jeweled scabbard and plunged it with wild abandon, murderously. Yes, not kindly, but murderously. Yeah. So yeah, it's sort of. Yes, she keeps you on your toes. So? Well, it's exciting that worked to you
It was
too.
great.
Oh my God. It's
Oh,
like we
Perfect.
talk about it all the time.
okay.
It's a pure genius.
Yeah.
Did you sort of guess that and then at the end go vindicated?
Amy and I have different experiences. I didn't know for most of the book.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the very end that I started putting it together. I feel like you, Amy, like came in with much stronger kind of ideas or theories.
Well, there was one moment where Gideon says, or the narrator says, "You were such a little bitch when you were angry."
Oh,
And I was like, oh, well,
yeah.
that's.
Right. Yeah. That's true. There were clues.
What a
Yeah.
giveaway! What a giveaway!
Yeah, there were definitely some bones thrown throughout,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
the big reveal was still exciting. So,
Yes.
also, do you listen to the audiobooks like once they're done?
No.
Or is that weird?
No. I'm sorry. No.
Have you ever listened to your audiobook of any of these
I
books?
hear my audiobooks if I'm doing a series and I have to get character references to remind me for the next book in the series. But do I sit
Right.
down and crack open and just go, let's listen to 8 hours of me today? No, I do not do that. I do not. My friend, he's a director of mine and for audio plays for the BBC, and he's very old school. And he asked, I think we asked, we go, Martin, do you enjoy? Do you ever watch anything that you've done? And he goes, God no. And he goes, but there was an actor. I'll email you later if I can remember who it was. But it was just like this old guy, and he goes, he was asked the same question. He goes, oh, God, yes, of course I do. I go through the Radio Times and go, look, there's me. And I sit down and turn on the telly with a good glass of whiskey and go, well, here we go.
Oh my God. That would not be me.
It would not be me, but I laugh my pants off. And I'm I always make him tell me that story because it just makes me laugh so hard. So no, I do not sit down with titles of my own. Also, because I'm busy, I'm trying to get on to the next project.
Yeah.
No room for the grass to grow.
We were wondering how like when do you get the record, like when do you record for the book that's about to come out? Is it like right beforehand?
Oh, gosh, I'd have to look at my calendar. No, I mean, here's the thing. There's a lot of times when you get what's called a crash title, and it's like, can you do this? Here's the manuscript. We need it 2 weeks ago. Go. But generally, everyone's always seems to be on a deadline. It's odd and frustrating. Recorded books, not so much. I really enjoy them a good deal, and they have a thing. It's very curious and rare, but they actually have their own pronunciations department. I think it's 2 guys in some building in New York being given lists of pronunciations from readers, and that is their job. And they
Wow.
like things done just so, but they do such a service. I mean, and it was very fortunate with these books. And I get to explain this now. So I did that. I sent in my pronunciation request because with fantasy, it's generally quite an extensive list, and things can be pronounced in a variety of ways. Like one time I did a book where there was a character, and I definitely would have said Iphigenia because that's how my classics teacher would have said it. But he wanted Iphigenia. That's what the author wanted.
Interesting.
I found that hateful, but you do what you do. So I sent in my quite extensive list, and I got it back, and I went, curious, to a couple of them. Like I had Harrow. It was written with the A with the little hat on it. See, I'm clever like that. I call it an A with a hat on it. It's probably got a name, but it's A with a little hat, which makes it an A. Harrow. So they had it as Harrowhawk, and I went, oh God, that's going to really trip me up. I wasn't happy about it. And what I would have said, Protesilaus, was Protesilaus, and it said in brackets sick. Not like it was cool, but sick. And once again I went, curious, and just got on with my day and said it that way. And I think perhaps it was later that I looked at the top and it said all pronunciations from the author, and that a little after that I went, oh, she's from New Zealand. They absolutely transcribed her New Zealand accent. So, like, to the American ear, what I would have just said, it would have been, I'm sure, Tamsin just saying, Harrowhawk.
That's so true.
And they wrote it down that way, and I just went, it's Harrowhawk. Like my Midlandsy way, Harrowhawk. And Protesilaus, I'm sure it was, but it's got that extra Kiwi diphthong, Protesilaus. That's what they transcribed. So, listeners, I'm not a moron. I'm just using transcribed New Zealand accent. It's kind of adorable.
So these 2 people in New York are the ones who work with the author to figure out how to pronounce.
I suppose they do. I mean, I've never sat down for a cup of tea and a chat with them. I don't think they have time, but yeah. I just imagine them in an old-fashioned room with like reams of paper and their hair stuck up on end, just transcribing away. Yeah.
Wow.
On flimsy.
That is wild. On flimsy.
What is it? We don't know.
Isn't it flimsy like an olden time term for shitty paper?
Oh. See? Learn something new every day.
It's actual vocabulary. I don't think it's made up.
There you go.
Yeah. So it sounds like you did get to just have so much creative freedom with the voices, and I'm curious, do you have a favorite? I know the experience with mashing together your gym teachers, but do you have a favorite voice in this series that just brings you so much joy to do?
Well, I do enjoy Ianthe, and she's also based on someone.
No way.
She absolutely is. I mean, listen, I lived in London and I hung around with plenty of Sloane Rangers who lived on their daddy's money, but but and sort of unpleasant, entitled people, which is, there's that aspect. But she's actually based on someone adorable. I had done I was doing a play and it was in Prague, and one of the cast was a girl. I won't say her name, even though she was lovely, but she was, oh God, she was wild. I think she had grown up, it always seemed to me she'd grown up on a country estate that was down at heel. And she used to she loved horses and she rode bareback. She would talk about there's nothing more wild than riding bareback. And she was super attractive with long blonde hair in that, but in that way that was not not Barbie-ish or not sort of American newscaster, but in a way that was just free and just she could have been in a French experimental film. And so but just iconically weird but beautiful, and I love that combination. And so we're in Prague and my friend and I just stopped in at her room and we went, oh, what are you doing? And she was just doing a bit of crafting. She was cutting up magazines and pasting them into a book and making some art. I mean, there was Prague to see, but she was in her hotel room, doing
Weird.
that. And we went, oh, so cool. And then we looked over and we said, oh, what's that? She goes, yeah, I went shopping today. And there was a big department store there. And we went, oh, and you got that, and it was a mug and a toy pig. Those were the things that she'd bought. A grown-ass woman. And we went, oh, so when she goes, yeah, I went to the department store. And so is it a good place to go? And she just looked so thoughtful and she went, well, if you wake up in the morning and you say, I need a mug and a toy pig, then yes, it's a really good place to go.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
And that was Ianthe.
And I mean, of course,
wow.
that has stuck with me for my life.
Oh my God.
And so and I just I just wanted her to be louche and just and that voice just popped in because it's just mad.
Oh
And
my God.
she's all the things, Ianthe. I mean, you want to love her, you shouldn't, but you just want to so much.
Yeah. She's a huge fan favorite.
Anyway, so there's a story of there's the story of Ianthe. And those are sorts of, and then other times it's just like, oh, him. Well, he can be from, I don't know, Warwick, and he'll I don't know.
Would your voice get hoarse after doing Crux for a bit?
Oh my God.
I have to be careful. Yeah, truthfully, I do have to be a little careful about that. Yeah. Crux. What a bastard.
I die laughing every time.
He's a nasty piece of work. It's fun to have a nasty piece of work, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
On a similar note, was there a scene that you really loved to do or that was particularly difficult or one that really kind of stuck out?
Gosh, one that was difficult. I think probably in Gideon, this always happens. Dinner parties are a little tricky. Just the logistics of dinner parties.
A lot of people.
I mean, I didn't have anything like having to go from Scottish to Irish. That always blows my mind a little bit. But just working out and just hoping that if you do need to leave a pause, that they're going to edit it well, because sort of that's not in your hands entirely. Because I have heard back. See, maybe I am a liar. I have heard back a scene and just went, oh my God, why did you leave such massive spaces between the dialogue? Now it sounds just like everyone's on Quaaludes, and that was not what I wanted at all. Yeah. So, you want to, the pacing is important. Yeah.
Wow. I had never thought
Yeah.
about, but of course,
Yeah.
dinner
Dinner
parties.
party, cast of thousands, and there's a fair few. Yeah. This is not a little quiet chamber piece. There's a fair number. And they go away and come back. I mean, if I do end up, I mean, I always have to be invited to do these books, but say I were to finish up the tetralogy, shall we say, then yeah, that'll, oh God, it'll be a lot of homework. Remembering
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. You know, if there's like if they ever turn this into an animated series, you're going to have to play every single character because your voice has just become these characters for
Well, you tell
everyone.
my agent that, and it would be really super fun as an animated series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
Do you when you're dreaming?
Yes, every day. I was curious, you know, these books are pretty long. I think Gideon is like a 20-hour book and Harrow is like even longer. And so how many, like you talked about 6-hour sessions, but like how long does it actually take to kind of end to end actually record a book that long? And is there anyone in the space with you, or is it just like you in the studio and then you like send off your recordings?
Here's the thing. I'm a bit of a holdout and a bit of an old timer that I insist on having a studio with with an engineer, and so far no one's denied me, or if they have, um, then I don't do it. Like,
Nice.
I'm sort of at that point. No, no, not for me. Not yet. I mean, I imagine there will be a time that I have to submit, but not yet, MFers. So I turn up. I'm a pretty efficient reader. So this is basically going to be a feat of mathematics and just your basic, whatever. Yeah, basic maths. I turn up and I generally knock out, if I'm doing a long session, say 9 till 6, with time for lunch and a cup of tea, I'll knock out about 4 hours. So just
Wow.
divide it that way.
Wow.
If I weren't an efficient reader, I don't know if this would be the game for me. I don't know. I'm a terribly patient person, but yeah, I'm a pretty good cold reader and pretty efficient and get through that. And so yeah, so just multiply. If I'm at a different studio where we knock off a bit sooner, yeah, maybe I'll just do 3.5 hours in a shorter session.
So that's like,
Wow.
I think these books are what, like 20 to 25 hours. So that's like,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just divide.
yeah,
There you go.
5+ days.
Yeah.
Wow, that is
It's a wild amount of
so
work.
much. Do you record on consecutive days?
My preference is to do 3 days and then a break.
Mm.
I've had a mad year this year. It's actually quieted down because I also do, I do video games and animation and audio plays and blah, blah, blah. And so I had a couple of days where I had 19 days, took a day off, did 17 days, took a day off. And
Wow.
that
Oh my
was
gosh.
hard on mama. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So there are, I do try and be very careful with my voice, and then I'm gargling and my steamer and just doing all of that stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
I had a scare a couple of years ago where I just wrecked my voice on a video game, then did
Ooh.
a book right after it, as I also had a cold because there was a deadline to be met.
Oy.
Yeah, and I think now, don't tell the publishers, but if they say you have a deadline and I say I have a cold, well, I'm afraid the cold's going to win out. No more of that, because it was very frightening. Yeah,
I think that's pretty
Yeah.
reasonable.
I feel it's reasonable that
Yeah.
I am a human being after all. You can't force me into the booth and whip me as I, yeah.
Not just a voice.
I am a human being.
That just reminded me that we're going to get to hear Alecto's voice. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I guess we kind of heard it already, but
Oh gosh.
Well, we can't get into that.
Yeah.
There's much to be debated.
Yeah, and I might have done things wrong. Like, gosh, I think for Nona, because anyone who reads the first chapter will know that Pyrrha appears. And so I have to look back and go, God, did I mess that up? Do things, yeah. So, yeah, there are, I have to admit to maybe some things that I did not anticipate. There, let's put it that way. Save face a little bit, but how's one to know?
Pyrrha's voice does change from the end of
Yes.
Harrow to the beginning of
Yes,
Nona.
that's entirely on purpose, Mel. I meant it. I absolutely meant it. Yeah.
I actually prefer the third book's Pyrrha version,
it's
and that's where we get the
so
most of it.
good.
So,
Cool.
you know.
I wanted to make Pyrrha ambiguously European, just because I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but everyone becomes a little, not necessarily mushy, but there's such a use of an amalgam. And that becomes sort of yeah, that was my brain hurt there with and descriptions of people's faces with different voices and who's coming through and how does it work on the page versus will that be confusing in an audiobook. So I did have to sort of make some executive decisions for Nona and just go, this is for audio. This is how it must work for audio.
Yeah.
And also to stop me, spinning out, spiraling out. Yeah.
Yeah. It is, I mean, it is a book where like people are trading
Oh my God.
bodies, and so like you think
Constantly.
about like, well, if there's someone else but they're in someone else's body, like they would be using their vocal cords, which would mean, right? But it doesn't, you can't just, it's complicated. I actually had a question about Paul, because with the mashup of Cam and Pal, you then had to create Paul. Like, what was that experience like?
I will admit right now, at this moment in time, I can't even remember how Paul turned out. How did Paul turn out?
Paul turned out like he like or they
Yes.
turned out like kind of Cam's voice, but just a little bit different. Like it was just ever so
Okay.
slight. I mean, it was brilliant. It was so
Well,
good.
Nailed it.
yes, because I kind of found myself as I went going through Nona that Cam couldn't sound quite the same as Harrow and Gideon, nor could Plamades. So there was a movement, I hope, in their voices as there was that that happening. So yes, so that'll Oh my God, are you hearing it? Just like of my brain exploding. There was yeah. But it's good to be challenged. It's good to be challenged.
I can't imagine how difficult it is. And also, do you know the whole arc of the series going into it?
No, I do not. I do not. I do not. I should have been sat down and everything explained to me. That would have been fair. But no, I have been treated thus. It is an outrage. Yeah, so.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to read Harrow like 3 times to understand what was going on. So like the fact that you were able to create all of these, like really like, I don't know, bring these characters into reality for so many people, not even fully probably grasping the whole thing, is just like really impressive.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, Gideon, I was reading it and just going, huh. And then it sort of, I kind of sort of just went, just relax. This is a country house murder. This is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This
Totally.
is, and once I sort of calmed down, then it did become more fun for me. And once again, the tenet, just let it be. Just let it lie. Do not poke, do not prod, just keep going. Then the process became a little easier. Harrow was trickier just because it's purposefully abstruse.
Mm-hmm.
And Nona was just its own thing.
Yeah,
They're
totally.
all totally different. What will Electo be? Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will be as surprised as you. And probably after I finish recording, I'll go, oh, I should have. Yeah, that'll be a drive home of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yeah. There. So don't blame me, listeners. Be kind. I'm only human. There we are.
Well, we love every second of the audiobooks. They are so good. And we'd love to also know, is there anything else that you do that we could check out? Your other work?
Oh gosh. Well, yes. I if you're a gamer, then I'm part of several games. If you like Star Wars, I'm part of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
What
so
character are you?
I play in Star Wars: The Old Republic. My first character was Ilara Dawn.
Oh my gosh.
She's all about, she's from the bad side, defects, and is all about paperwork, but falls in love. I think they have a romance. You can follow a romance line, which is hilarious to me. And then Aaron Lanier, I started a couple of years ago, just before COVID started, and then did a few sessions, from my home while everyone was white knuckling it through COVID. I know it's still here, everybody, but you know what I mean. The darkest depths of it, when we all really got to know the nooks and crannies of our very own homes and whether we loved our families or not.
Indeed.
And yes, we do. We all get along famously, my family. What else? Destiny. I play the Exo Stranger.
Oh, cool.
Which and my daughter, God bless her, she's a big Destiny gamer. She's a bit of a gamer girl, and so she explains what I do. She goes, "Mom, this is what you're doing here," and I go, "Oh, okay then. Well, that all makes sense now." I must sound really clueless
so cool.
that I do all these things that I don't understand. But for those
you do it
sessions,
so well, though.
Yeah, I just I'm an educated person, but you never know. Yeah, I walk into those sessions, and the first 10 minutes of them are the director explaining the lore to me again, and because I'm only one cog in that whole thing. I'm trying to think I've been working on a game for several years that a couple of them, but I'm always under non-disclosure agreement, so I can't talk about that. Maybe we'll revisit that. Yeah.
Yes. We'll keep an eye out.
And you can find things on like BBC Radio and animation that I do, and oftentimes you'll hear me. I seem to have a good stock in trade playing BBC reporters in the background of TV and films that you watch. Yeah.
Oh,
like
cool.
I'm trying to think what the last TV report, maybe for the Eternals.
Oh.
So like I'll do like BBC reports, that style reporter. Yes.
Cool.
Thing.
One second to last question. Did your daughter read the Locked Tomb series?
She has not.
Or listen to it?
She has not. But she just actually just last night she said, "Mom, do you do the Locked Tomb series?" And I said, yeah, I do that. And she goes, "Yeah, Ivy said that you do that." And I said, "Yeah, I do that." She goes, "She said you got good press." And I said, "Yeah." I said, I have them if you want." And she's like, "No." She would not it's just too many hours of her mother in her ears. It just would be weird.
That makes sense.
Because they always hated it. I have two daughters, And my favourite thing in the world was story time. And, and I would sit down and look at these children. How fortunate to have a professional voiceover artist and storyteller reading them. And they were having none of it. I would sit down and I'd go, that's Mrs. McTats and her 49 cats. And they would tap me on the arm and go, no, mama, no voices, no voices, mama. And I just, oh my God, you mean I have to sit here and read this pile of books? Yeah, so I would have to read all these books just like, as they would say, plain. Just read it plain, because they couldn't be having it.
That is too funny.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised by that. Yeah.
I am too.
Wow.
I was also slightly angered, yet I love them. But come on, kids, this is my practice time. This is a lot of books. I've read them 1,000 times. Let me get my jollies. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, man. Wow. Maybe someday they'll come up to you and they'll say, actually, can you read this in all your voices?
I hope they also back up into me and sit in my lap, full grown, both of them, as I do it. That would be great. They're both bigger than me now. There's not much of me. Well, there is wise now, but yes, they lord it over me, the pair of them.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you'll be happy to hear that we do have some things that we would love for you to say in some voices.
Oh, okay then. Is it dog and pony show time? Let's see if I can remember. You might. Oh God.
It's not too. We're not asking anything too complex.
Okay.
It's all It's Harrow's voice, right?
It's actually we've written a whole dinner party, and we would like you to just
Yes.
do it on the spot.
Sure.
Let's go.
Go ahead. Okay.
We actually tweeted out a request that we wanted people to let us know what they wanted Harrow to say to Gideon at the very end of Nona the Ninth.
Okay.
And we wanted to ask you to read, I think, what, two things in Harrow's voice?
2 things.
If you're up for it.
Of course.
Let me chat them so you can actually. That's one.
Okay.
I don't understand that one either.
I don't.
It's a meme.
I'll explain it later.
Oh,
I'll explain
here's
it later.
the thing. I never got any of the memes. I think I said I am analog, and just that whole world of social media and pictures with funny words. My daughter's always like shoving them in my face with her phone about like 3 inches from my head. Look at this! And I just go, no, I don't have my glasses on. It's just a blur. And I don't. Yes, ha ha, very funny. Let me get on with my life. And so these all just went over the top of my head. That just makes me sound like such an old-timey curmudgeon. Yeah, the kids with their memes in there. Yeah. So I'm to read this first one with the confusing grammar. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see if I can. Okay. Gideon, all your base are belong to us.
Oh my God.
Okay, let me move my cursor. Okay. Griddle, I would do anything for you, so please keep that in mind when I tell you that I have thrown away all your dirty magazines. Is that
Oh my God. Wow. I think
incredible.
that was
I've
beautiful.
thrown away
Thank
all
you.
your dirty magazines, but first I perused them. For ideas. For the end of Electo. For all the cutscenes. There's going to be all sorts of exciting gay cutscenes. Would you like
That's
that?
what the fans
Some gay
want.
cutscenes.
Please.
Yeah. I also have to say,
God.
like, I went, lesbian necromancers, yes, please. What's going to happen? And then I have to. I don't know. I'm a straight white female. She, her, she, ma'am, and I read it and I just went, well, I kind of find it cool that they just got on with their lives, and it was just I called them, oh, they're civilian lesbians.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's
I think that's like one of the things that so many people love about these books is like it's the queerness is just kind of baked in,
yes,
and it's about so much more than that, but like yeah, so totally.
lesbians. They're just like us.
Yeah. Who knew?
Who knew that yeah. I was all on for that, and I just love all the. I have Gen Z kids, and I'm Gen X, but Gen X loves Gen Z. It's just like you go, can continue the progress, because I think there's such a fine and delightful continuation of Gen X, and some things my daughter says to me, and I go, yeah, that's really cool. Sometimes a dress is
Totally.
just a dress. Why does it matter? Because, I got brought up in an English school, which was all very
Mm.
sir and miss and, Miss Quirk, and we were all, yes, girls by their, actually it was girls by their Christian names and boys by their surnames. And it was
Whoa.
very old school. And
Whoa.
so, yeah, let your freak flag fly. What's it matter? So I love too that that's all just baked in.
Yeah.
I hope that didn't seem pandering, but
No, not at
No,
all.
cool.
not at all. Thank you so much. We like can't say enough how grateful we are that you gave us time out of your weekend. This has been such a delight.
It's been lovely. Thanks for having me, and I get to see your two quite similar offices.
I know.
Yes. I'm actually in my living room. I live in New York, so I live in a box. This is my whole room. You're seeing it.
Yeah,
This is my bedroom.
in the west wing of your house.
Yeah.
Yes, in the West Wing. DC jokes.
There.
You are the best. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your weekend.
you too, and onwards.
Thanks,
Take
Moira. You're the
care.
best.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for joining us for this really, really fun conversation that we had with Moira Quirk. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us wherever you're listening. We are going to start our Nona reread next week, so tune in to join us there. I'm Amy,
And I'm Mel.
and we'll see you next time here at the Locktoon Podcast.